Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with your channel hosts, GBHL Jamie
and GBHL James, and this
chuck in every now and again.
Yeah, just mix it up. This is the Fallen Realms week, and we are going on to the Warriors of Harad and Umbar.
Woohoo! So last video we talked about the heroes and some very good heroes they had.
Yes, indeed.
But it's not just the heroes that make up a list; it's the warriors as well. And this is a very competitive list, not just because of those competitive heroes, but they do have some competitive warriors.
They do.
Some good builds. Okay, now before we start off talking about the basic Haradrim warrior, which is where we'll start, let's just mention a little bit of a special rule.
Oh yes, the special rule that they have.
Okay, so we've got something here called the Scorpion's Sting.
Yep. Okay, so the armies of Harad are renowned for their devastating effect of the dark clouds of arrows that they launch at their foes. If your force, or an allied contingent in your force, contains only warriors from the following choices, its bow limit is 50% instead of the usual 33%. And these warriors are Haradrim warriors, Haradrim raiders, Serpent Guard, Serpent Riders, Abrakan Guard, and Watchers of Karna.
Which we'll get to. This means that you
doesn't need the last two.
it does mean that you end up getting two different kinds of builds, usually, of Haradrim list. That is incredibly powerful, and it's going to lend itself very much to some of the troops you are going to see for the Haradrim. Okay, so we'll start off with the basic Haradrim warrior. Quite cheap. Okay, the same as a warrior Rohan?
Same as a basic warrior of Rohan, yeah.
Yeah.
Same stat line as well.
And same stat line, because they're just your basic troop, not particularly great.
Your basic man in armour.
Yep. So that's your fight 3, plus 4, shoot value, 3, 4, 1, 1, 3. Okay, now they come with the armour, but they do have some options.
Yep, so they can take a banner for 25 points.
That's cool.
Worth it. A warhorn for 20 points to increase their courage. They can take a bow for a point, which is good. They come with the poisoned arrow special rules, so they're rolling ones to wound on bows, which they get essentially for free.
Yep.
A spear for a point, and they've got upgrades that don't need any certain hero to do. So this is just a troop upgrade. It's the Warrior of Abrakan for a point, and this makes them have courage 4 rather than 3, so it might be worth it more than a horn. And the big one, the Warrior of Karna, for 2 points, so it makes them quite expensive when they've got a bow, but they get a 3+ shoot value rather than a 4+ shoot value.
Very, very interesting. Now we do see a few of these guys out there. They're quite cheap and easy troops to get hold of.
Yeah.
And of course,
numerous.
Yeah, very good way of bulking up your sort of Haradrim force.
I think the box set comes with 6 spear and 6 bow.
Which makes sense. You do tend to see these guys usually as a spear support.
Yeah.
And maybe carrying some bows. Although we will come to it, there are some better options, even in doing some of these upgrades, which sound very good off their own bat, but when you compare them to others. Because even paying 2 points and having a bow for a 3+ re-rolling ones shooting troop, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
It is pretty good. So from a basic warrior point of view, flexible, low defense is an issue.
Defense 4, but you know you can get around that quite easily with sort of like the Shadow Lord and things.
Yeah. What kind of role are you going to be using these for? You're probably going to be sitting back, shooting, using them to support. You don't necessarily want to use front lines.
Using that Serpent Stings.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to use that Serpent Sting, that 50% rule. Okay, so next up we go to the Cavalry option. We've got the Haradrim Raider.
Yep, so again it's the basic sort of Haradrim warrior on a horse.
Yeah, so paying basically an extra 5 points for the horse, aren't they?
So, you know, fight 3, 4+ shoot, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 courage 3.
Nothing special.
And they've got, you know, the option for a banner, a bow, a war spear, a lance for a point.
Ooh, now that's good.
There's a kicker for the Haradrim Raider over any other cheap cavalry.
Referring specifically to Riders of Rohan.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
12 points puts them, is that on par with Riders of Rohan, 12 points?
No, Rider of Rohan is 13.
Yeah, because they got the shield and the bow, don't they?
Yeah.
So if you gave them a lance and a bow, they're the same as them, and I'd rather have that than the shield.
Maybe.
That +1 to wound.
But they're not Rohan.
Yeah, it's true. They for 50% bows, so this is good. And they can be upgraded to an Abrakan Raider, and they have a courage 4.
Okay.
So for an extra point. And of course they've got the poisoned arrows rule.
Which suddenly, you know, that's not too bad at all. So you could, of course, use these as a kind of mounted archer. You could do, because they're reasonably cheap and they could do that role pretty well. But I think getting the war spears on them is where you're going to see these guys, because all of a sudden they've got a bit of killing power. And the Haradrim side of this army, apart from maybe the Abercorn Merchant Guard lacks that kind of killing power, that punch sort of in close combat. So we do actually see a few Haradrim Raiders around.
Yes, we do, yeah.
They're quite popular.
They're good to get hold of. They're
nice models.
Yeah.
They're nice models.
The Haradrim, it's really odd because I like looking at the models and I like the aesthetic, but I don't like seeing a Haradrim army. I don't know why. It's a really weird coincidence.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
They're not interesting to look at visually, but you look at a model, you go, that's a really nice model.
Yeah.
Put it as a group with them, you're like, doesn't look like a.
And also, you know, you come up against, and we'll get more and more to this as we get to certain profiles. You look across the table at one of these armies, and you get an impending sense of doom.
Oh, it's them.
Because you know it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
We are looking at probably one of the most competitive lists in the game. Yeah. So next up, we go up a little bit. We go to one of their elites, okay, and this is the Serpent Girl.
Say it's elite, it's still dirt cheap.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a wood elf.
Wood elf with a spear.
Wood elf with spear. Right. Okay.
It's
still rather wood elf.
It's a Ranger of Gondor.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So Ranger of Gondor. So this is the Serpent Guard. The Serpent Guard. So their stat line, all of a sudden they got an increased fight value, which is really good. The rest is exactly the same. Strength 3, Defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, Courage 3. They come in with the armour. And they come with the spears. You're not having to pay for the
7 points for Curve Fight 4.
Yeah.
And they've got a special rule, so they're 6 points basic.
Which is really good, actually.
Yeah.
And a common theme.
It's a bit too cheap.
Slightly underpointed.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly. They get the poison blades each time a Serpent Guard attempts to wound an enemy in a fight but rolls a 1 on the dice to wound, he must re-roll the dice. Now these guys are great spear support for you.
Fantastic spear supports. They give their fight 4 to them, and they've got poison blades, so they're going to be re-rolling 1s to wound. So it's like fainting feedback line.
Exactly, so all of a sudden you can conceivably have a different sort of front rank that's a lower fight value, and you get those guys in there doing the support, you're getting those rerolls to 1s even though you're not in base contact. Very, very good. Very tough models to get hold of.
Yep, they're out of production. Are they out of production?
I got 12 of these bad boys. Just in time. They are out of production. Very nice.
They are cool.
They're quite cool models, I have to say.
There's some weird poses.
Yeah, very much got sort of the spears are very much sort of thrusting out rather than sort of being held back in. But yeah, nice models. And then interestingly, you also, just like with the Haradrim Warrior to Haradrim Raider, they have a mounted version. Yeah. So this is the Serpent Rider.
So exact same stat line, fight 4 being the key thing, everything strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 3. They come with armour and a war spear instead of a spear.
Now that's really good. That's like really good.
And they maintain their poison blades rule, so they are re-rolling failed 1s to wound.
So the fact that they come in with that lance effectively, that they're fight 4 and they've got the poison blades, they're obviously paying the 5 points for the horse. They're quite killing.
But that's the same cost as a Rider of Rohan. They got fight 4 as basic. They've got a lance, and they've got re-rolls to 1 to wound.
A Serpent Rider is better than a Rider of Rohan, basic.
Yeah.
Which is terrible!
Just like you'd have 50% Serpent Riders, 50% Haradrim Raiders with bow and war spear.
Of course you would.
And you could still make a very big force with that.
Yeah, you could, because they're quite cheap. And because you're getting the +1s with the lances, you're not having to rely on sort of expensive strength 4 that you have to do with Rohan with the Sons of Ale. You know. What's that all about? And this is going to be a comment. Neither of us are Haradrim players, so we might be begrudging this a little bit because it's a very, very competitive list. So Serpent Riders are probably better than your basic Rider of Rohan. You know, what we said, So to get the fight 4, you've got to pay for Westfold Red Shield upgrade.
Just a point and a companion. You would take a companion.
And you don't have poison blades. Yeah, you got your shield, you got your 100% bows, but you don't have that lance. And lance is definitely something lacking from the Rohan list. So Serpent Riders, good.
Very good.
Very, very good. Do we see them?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So now we actually we're coming away from the Serpent Sting. And we're moving more to the Corsair element.
Yes,
and a very interesting profile.
3 Corsair units. Obviously, if these are included with the Haradrim, you can't take Serpent Sting. So you either see a mixture of them with some good troops from Corsairs, or you see the Serpent Sting with max bows.
And it's a predicament for the Umbar player, because you do have to decide how you want to play.
Yeah. So, start off, the Corsair of Umbar, cheap, for what he is. He's fight 4 with a 4+ shoot value, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, cruise 3. Comes with throwing daggers.
Very good. Now fight 4, I'm guessing, because this is an old profile, this was the old way, wasn't it, to get fight 4 into your E
Yes,
army?
yeah. So Corsair,
I only know that because you've said that to me before.
Corsair of Umbars were the troop to have at some point, because they're so cheap. You take them en masse when there was no move or shoot. You got like 30 or because they can take boarding pikes. You could just equip your army with them, and you'd have sort of 60 throwing daggers a turn.
Wow.
Which you can.
You are going to kill stuff.
You will kill stuff. Charging in or sitting back and having all 60.
Yeah, something like that. You need the numbers. You need to be rolling a lot of dice, but it can pay off because they are cheap.
Yeah.
Same as a basic wood elf.
Yeah.
In fact, now they do get set that boarding pike, which is basically a spear, which is obviously very handy, and they can take a bow. They can take a shield as well to get them from that defense 3 to 4.
That's a big jump as well.
That is a big jump, especially when you're playing against a lot of the good armies. Corsairs of Umbar. Now, interestingly, considering it's quite an interesting, cheap, good profile, we probably don't see this as much because of 2 factors. One of which we mentioned before.
Yeah, the Serpent
Sting.
The other is because of the cheapness of the next profile.
It's a perfect segue. We've got the Corsair Reaver.
The Corsair Reaver.
Probably one of the... interestingly, when I read SBG magazine, the fanzine, not the most underpointed.
No.
It's not actually, there's a lot more that's worked, but I think it's with the emergence of some of the new special strike stuff.
And I'm pretty certain, I can't remember, Steve Crowey's got the old Harad number book, but I'm certain one of their 2 stats were different.
Right, okay.
Either that stat or that stat was different for the Reaver.
Right, okay.
But with this book it got better, which is why they became so prevalent.
Now there aren't actually models for these, so you do have to use the Corsair Umbar model. I have to say, did I get them off you as well?
You did, yes.
I got some off you.
Box of 24.
Got a box of 24 off you. I got some others as well, which was handy because they all converted up nicely into Reavers. I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetic of the Corsair.
No, it's sort of a swashbuckler, but like...
I mean, they do look like Corsairs.
It's sort of like the Caribbean swashbuckler.
It's a little bit Pirates of the Caribbean for me.
Yeah, big, fancy silk pants.
The swords don't really fit in with Middle Earth. I mean, we say that it's fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You make it fit if you want to make it fit. But in my mind,
they're sort of like semi-cutlass, aren't they? It's like a straight blade with a curved sword at the end.
The thing is, when I always read, because I was massively into the appendices for various reasons, and whenever I read about Umbar, you've got that massive Numenorian element. I still, even though they're Corsairs, I still imagine them to be like your old Numenorians in a way. Obviously not got all the armour and everything, but that old kind of they're seamen, men of the sea. You know what I mean? And they just look a bit too like your cliche pirates to me.
Yeah.
And some of the models are actually quite nice, the actual models, but then there's too many in the kit that aren't great. If you check out an unboxing, we actually talk you through some of those. We've got Corsair Umbar unboxings. So let's go to that Corsair Reaver. Okay, one of the reasons why they are fantastic is all of a sudden you have an evil troop with...
Fight 5.
What? What? Like, do you mean fight 5 as in the same fight value as an elf, the immortal beings that are the greatest warriors of their age?
Yes.
Really?
Really, same as Faramir. Same.
Hang on, what?
As
Faramir?
All the Rohan heroes. Yeah.
What? The same as Knight of the Pelennor?
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
A pirate who looks like that?
Yeah. No, he looks like one below that.
Oh yeah, it looks like one below.
He's got 2 swords, you see.
That's right.
Makes him better.
Really, to sort of max that.
But yeah, fight 5.
Wow.
And they are cheap.
Dirt cheap.
When we consider their stat line, with the rest of it as well.
They are cheap. They're the cheapest of the 2 attack hero, 2 attack
yes, they are, yeah.
Troops, and that's where it comes in. Because of course, you've got ferals, a few points more.
You got ferals, you got berserkers, you got Morgul stalkers, I think you got half trolls.
Sons of Ale.
Sons of Ale.
Well expensive.
Iron Guard.
Berserkers.
You said berserkers.
Did we?
Yeah.
There you go.
You got a lot of 2 attack warriors. These guys are the cheapest.
They're the cheapest, and they're fight 5.
Yeah.
which means they're a higher fight value than some of those others.
All of those others.
All of those others, wow.
Except for the half troll.
Now they're strength 3 and defense 4.
And that's the flip side for them. Everyone else who's a 2 attack model has defense 6 or higher.
Yeah, so they are a
glass hammer.
Yeah, a bit fragile. They've got 2 attacks. 2 attacks is huge. Would you rather have 2 5-point models, or would you rather have this fight 5 2 attack model?
Fight 5.
I mean,
you know, 2 attacks you win in most fights. Fight 5 you beat in most people.
Now, of course, they're 1 wound and they're courage 3, which isn't fantastic.
Whenever I've played against a Haradrim army and these guys get put on the front line, they're the first ones to get shot at.
Yeah, of course.
With anything. Like
Target priority.
It's these guys.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
Get rid.
I guess it's the same when you're fighting against dwarves and you try and get rid of the Iron Guard and stuff. You know,
yeah,
one, they're softer.
Softer, but they've got
2 attacks.
And it's that sort of concentration of dice in a very small model. Like you get 2 of them on someone, you got 4 dice versus their 1.
If you watch Deadliest Warbands, Deadliest Warbands is a fantastic, really. It's a fantastic window into the strengths and weaknesses of these guys, because you get to see them at their best and what they're good at, which is going up and chopping stuff. 2 attacks with fight 5 means that you are going to be winning a lot of your combats.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what we have to mention is the combination of this with the new special strike rules.
Yeah.
So what do we tend to see from the most awful players around?
So because these guys don't have an official model and they've got no sort of sword or anything in their war gear, is that they need to be converted up to be made. So they come with a sword in one hand and most people will put an axe in the other. And even though it is cheesy to put the axe on the model, you can imagine a seaman using an axe. Or
even the captain's got the axe, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a good weapon.
Yeah, of course it is.
And it's multi-purpose, and like a sword which is for fighting, and you could use the axe on the ship.
Of course you could. You know,
so
just in case you want
to cut a rope,
cut the mast.
Chuck it down.
I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Start a fire.
Till I've been on a lot of boats. So you put these guys with an axe, and because they're such low defence,
there's no real risk.
You just go for it. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, you're going to make strength 3. You know, it's slightly easier to kill you, of course, and obviously some of the others as well. Strength 5 and stuff, but
sorry, they're just laughing at the fluff text.
Oh no, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
The captains value the Corsair Reavers, but will most likely keep them chained up whilst at sea to prevent other accidents with the crew.
Wow. Because
they're bloodthirsty and barbaric.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the idea behind these are the guys who've been doing these reavings their whole lives. These are the most hardened. Yeah. They're constantly in battle, and I guess that's why they've got the higher fight value. These would stay fight 5 on my scalings, and I would boost the elves. Yeah. Because that's the one bit where it doesn't make sense when you compare it to other profiles. Okay, so when you're piercing striker with them, your strength's going up. These guys are horrendous. 2 attacks, fight 5, very competitive. Very Same cheap. Points as a Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then we come up to the final, and one that you don't see as much.
No. I've played against a few of them.
Yeah, they're very rare models, it has to be said. I have 6 of them. I'm not a huge fan of the actual model. We have the Corsair Arbalester. Okay, same points as the Corsair Reaver. Yeah. What do they bring to the table?
So they fight 4 with a 4+ shoot value, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 3. And they come with a crossbow and a pavis.
I think it's a pavis.
Pavis.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a Genosian.
I think so. Yeah.
Pavis sounds more.
Pavis sounds more like it. But if it's pavis, surely it would have the little slash thing over the eye. Yeah. If someone knows how to sell it, if you could sell it. If someone wants to give us some models, if someone knows how to say it, maybe just write below phonetically. Okay, so the pavis. If the bearer of the pavis is not in base contact with an enemy model, he receives +3 defense.
Yep. So this, I'm just going to cut in again. No, this used to be when they don't move. So they would always have to be standing still, and it's like they've set it up and they're shooting their crossbow through it. That's when they get it.
Yep.
It changed just when you're not in combat. You're defense 6.
Right, okay.
So you can move and still be defense 6.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Now these guys effectively then take up the role of your Urukai crossbows.
Yeah.
Okay, they've got
cheaper as well.
For a bit cheaper.
And a better defence when you're shooting.
A better defence while you're shooting. So they're actually pretty good. But one of the reasons why we don't see these guys...
They had another special rule as well which has gone.
What was that?
Because they were armed with a crossbow and a big old heavy shield, they used to get -1 in combat.
Right, yeah.
So they used to be absolutely awful for as soon as the lines...
Maybe that's why there's not many of them out there.
Yeah.
Because you look at this and actually they're not awful, but the one reason why you might not take them is in the context of the whole list. Because if you look at the context of the whole list, if you want to shoot...
It's a mobile force, the Harad Drum.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Or if you want to shoot, you're probably going to go for your Serpent Sting.
Yeah, and go for the big bows and...
Although it would be interesting, are you going to outshoot, if you've got your third Corsair Arbalesters hitting on fours, but they've got strength 4.
They've got strength 4, it's an
and a
interesting...
defence 6.
So
we need to theorise this more.
Yeah.
Because they're cheaper than Uruk-hai crossbows, and we rate Uruk-hai crossbows so much.
Yeah.
So why do we not see as many of these Corsair Arbalesters?
I think because once they get into combat, they're nowhere near as good because they're defence 3.
Yeah, that could almost certainly be it. And of course, if you're going to take the Corsair element, if you want to have that element in there and you want to get rid of the Serpent Sting, then you really want your army going towards the enemy. You don't want Corsair Reavers really hanging back, because if you're doing a shooting battle, they're going to be target priority.
Yeah.
Always. So we don't see that much of these guys. They go for a ton on eBay, I have to say. I'm glad I've got a few, not my favourite models, but that takes us towards the end of the actual Corsair.
That's the Corsair element done. So now we're back onto the Serpent Sting model.
And to one of the most broken troops in the game. Can you guess what it is yet? Of course you can. We all know what we're talking about here. It's the Watcher.
Unhappy face on.
It's the Watcher Arcana.
The ridiculous. Oh, this is the other 2-attack model that's cheaper.
That's right. Yeah.
How do we forget this one?
This is the cheapest.
We're so disgusted at the Reaver.
So this is in the same list as the Reaver. Okay, so we've got the Watcher Arcana. Okay, they're fight 4. Very good for an evil model there. 3+ shoot value. Very good. Okay, strength 3, defense 4, 2 attacks. Okay. They've got 1 wound and courage 3.
So, just based off the stat line, before we go on to their, page of special rules, let's have a look at the Haradrim Warrior. So they're 9 points for a 3+ shoot value.
Yeah.
And they come with a bow, do they?
They don't come with a bow.
They don't come with a bow. To get Haradrim Warrior with a 3+ shoot value, you pay 2 points, and you get the same stat line, but you not fight 4. So you pay that point,
and you got to pay for the point as well. So if you buy a bow and you buy the Warrior of Kana upgrade, then you've got the 3+ shoot value and a bow, which is the same points.
Which is 9 points. This is the basics.
Yep. You lose your fight value and you lose the attack, and also they've got some special rules. So these guys can take a bow.
Yeah.
Are you going to take a bow?
Of course, you're going to take a bow.
You're probably going to take a bow. You're probably going to take a bow. These guys are resistant to magic.
Why?
They are resistant to magic.
What's their fluff? You carry on, I'll read their fluff.
Okay, you read the fluff and then review it for us. Okay, so they've got poison arrows like a lot of the Haradrim, which is fine. They've also got, again, very interesting, they've got Steely Nerve. A Watcher Arcana attempted to charge a terror-causing enemy receives a +2 bonus to his courage for that test. That's really interesting. So these are a Games Workshop sort of invention. And they are very, very, very cheap. Very, very, very cheap. They basically got a bunch of special rules for free.
Yeah.
And they've effectively got their attack
for free.
They've got their attack for free.
Yeah, their extra attack. So their fluff is that they are descended of Kana's priests, and that through their martial skill they keep in the tortured spirits of some place. Dim Lucky.
Okay, I'll have to look at the map of. Somewhere down here.
Done it?
Yeah, it'd be down here. That's
the
Port of Umbar.
Yeah.
So we go in that way. That's fiefdoms and Gondor. And,
they have no idea. There's a big map up here, middle there.
There we go. Yeah, just so that we're not insane.
Just talking on the wall.
Yeah, it's about here.
Yeah, pencil, quick.
Yeah. So okay, do we see many Watchers Arcana?
Yes.
We see loads.
We see too many Watchers Arcana.
A lot of time, people. Let's talk about the builds. If people are going to do Serpent Sting, they will tend to do 50% Watchers Arcana if they have all of the metal models.
Yeah. And if they've got the metal models, they'll also do Serpent Guard behind, because this was first brought to us by Charles Sims, that you have Watchers Arcana with bows at the front, supported by the Serpent Guard, So Serpent Girl have got the poison blades, they're rerolling ones. Watch Takana faint because they're armed with swords, so they're rerolling ones, and you keep the fight 4 because of the Serpent Guard. So you get 3 dice, fight 4, all of which is rerolling ones to wound.
Yeah. Can I just say, it is absolutely devastating versus my Rohan.
It doesn't sound, you know, you don't get that many ones. When you're rolling 3 dice, you're probably going to get a 6. So
you're going to get a 5 or a 6, and you're probably going to get 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
If you look at that like that.
It's grim.
You're probably going to get a 1 or a 6. You're going to get that chance to do it.
Yeah.
They are going to. You've got 3 dice in there.
Yeah.
And that's if they've not got a banner around or something that counts as a banner. You know, so they're very, very, very good. Very good. They can perform that sit back and shoot, and when you get to the lines, you're not going to have an easy time when you're there. They're going to diminish you, and by the time that you're there, you're already at a massive disadvantage anyway.
They'll outnumber you.
They will outnumber you.
Because they're so cheap.
I find it very hard to build, to beat that build.
I've actually, most recently, when I've taken my Wood Elves, I've actually not lost to it yet. But it's only because I had the Woses in there and had their poison blowpipes on the 3+. And these guys, you know, defense 4, medium 5s with everything in the force. And I've had a few. Charles and I have stood 12 inches away from each other and just shot at each other, and we've had heroic shoot-offs. Heroic accuracy, you know. You've got your archers behind, right? Heroic accuracy, try and get through to them.
Yeah.
It's a really horrible, intense, because you know, as soon as you lose like 3 or 4 archers, the swing's massive, and you're like, oh god.
Of course it does.
And he's got a taskmaster there whipping himself to.
That's the way I've beaten Harad list before. Is although you know Charles is focus on the objective.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I beat Charles and Charles's build this last time. In a straight, even with a couple more turns, they trashed me. I was getting trashed.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's a horrible build to come
You
against.
can't pick on anything because it's all fight 4.
No, you can't. I played George Seymour, had it. I played against that, and I was lucky because I called the heroic shoot off, and I killed enough of his. So I basically got all of my Rohan bows onto one part of his Watch Zakana.
Yeah, so you outnumber the smaller.
So I outnumbered the smaller amount, and by killing those, swayed the bow fight in my favour. Because obviously I've got bows on the force. So you've got to be really careful. You've got to be good. You've got to know what you're doing to try and take on this.
You need a bit of luck as well, I think, just to get those kills. Because even though they're low defence, you need 5s. And it can feel so frustrating sometimes when you don't kill any. You're like,
and you need to, because even if you kill 1, it makes a big impact in how the battlefield starts, especially when they're 50% bows. So Watch Zakana are one of the filthiest troops in the game, and I think
especially when you consider the list they're in.
Yeah. Do we see these in combination much with the Betrayer?
Not as much as you consider.
You would think that.
You think they will be, but they tend to choose something else. Because it's a sit-backy sort of force. Betrayer's not great magically wise, and
no, he's only given a reroll of the 2, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah. So next up we come to another elite troop, and quite an interesting profile because it's different to the other things that are in the list, which is quite cool. We've got the Abrakan Merchant Guard.
I rate these guys quite highly. They always worry me.
Same points as the sort of Ranger of Arnor, Ranger of Gondor.
Yep.
Kind of. They got fight 4 again.
Yep, fight 4. And it's a common theme in Harad that they're fight 4. I guess they're warring people, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Which then you look at Gondor.
Yeah, who have been fighting off Mordor for centuries.
And of Numenorian descent. These aren't just going, there's so much fight 3, and then you start looking at the whole rescaling thing again. But yeah, these guys are fight 4, and they got 4+ shoot value. Yeah. Now they're strength 4.
Yep.
It's the first time that we've
encountered strength 4 in this army list, because everything else got a lance or a poison blade.
Yeah, which of course can take up that role. Now they're only defense 4. Okay, they got 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 3. So nothing particularly different there. They've got a 2-handed weapon. This is where the key bit comes in because their special chop. Now we've come across that before, haven't we?
Yeah, that's with the Golden King. So they don't suffer the -1 penalty. So they're strength 4 and +1 to wound.
All of a sudden, these guys chop.
Yeah, chop.
Now, you don't see a full force of these, do you? You tend to sort of little kill teams.
Yeah, you have 1 or 2 of them in the warband, and they're the model that traps and does the kill. And more likely they'll faint more often than not, so they get the reroll of 1 as well.
Yeah, so they're effectively getting they're getting that poison anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do we see these guys that much?
I do. I come across them quite a few times.
Yeah, every tournament tends to have a smattering of these.
Yeah.
They're very different models to a lot of the other things in the range.
They remind me of sort of the guards from Aladdin.
Aladdin was on the telly the other day.
Was it?
Yeah, do you know what? It's one of the few Disney movies that I've not watched with Jane. And we managed to catch the end of it, which was good. Okay, so next up we come to one of my
favourite models.
One of my least favourite models aesthetically, I have to say. But from a profile point of view,
they're good.
Pretty good. We've got the Black Numenorians.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's key, before we do that, let's read out what their stat line, what their fluff is. These are the Black Numenorians are the race of men who forced a foul alliance with the Dark Lord of Mordor many centuries ago. Basically, these are the guys who are involved in the King's Strife, the civil war,
yeah.
When Gondor broke up. So they are the equivalent, they're like the bad equivalent of Gondor. Yeah. Okay, and the city of Umbar was founded by these Numenorians as well. We've got a fight value 4.
Yep, 5x4 again.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. 4+ shoot value. The strength 3, but all of a sudden, for the first time, I think in this list,
yeah, it is. It's defense 6.
That's the first time that we've seen that. So everything else is relatively squishy in the context of things, but you can get a lot of them, and all of a sudden you've got defense 6 troop in here. They got
twice. Yeah, they're still cheap.
Yeah, it's still pretty cheap. Same points as the Watcher of Kana. They've got 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4, so slightly high courage. The reason why they're defense 6 is they come with heavy armour and a shield. Now they do have the option to take a banner, so sometimes when you will see these guys is you have a higher protected kind of banner in there. So if someone doesn't want their banner being sniped off, which might be relatively easy to do with a Haradrim warrior, because they're low defense, somebody might whack in a single Black Numenorian. Black Numenorians, in terms of the models themselves, are basically based.
They're based on the mouth of Sauron, aren't they?
They are, which is the shame. It's because he's supposed to be like a Black Numenorian, but obviously with the movie aesthetic, I don't think it lends itself well beyond a single character.
In the movie aesthetic, yeah, Mouth of Sauron looks like a wimpy version of Sauron.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
because you've got sort of the tri-peaked hat, which is the Barad-dûr.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then these guys just look.
They've got the single peak.
Yeah. To me, they look a little bit ridiculous. Yeah. They look a little bit ridiculous. Now they can take a war horn for 20 points. Then the key thing here, and these are the areas where you're probably going to consider taking them in when you're, if you're going to take them, because there's other things around the same kind of points which are better, which are better on. You can upgrade them to a Castellan of Umbar. You get 2 points for it.
And that makes them fight 5.
So they basically become a high elf.
Yeah.
With lower courage.
Lower courage.
For 11 points.
So
it's not bad.
It's balanced enough.
It's not bad. So you could end up with a front rank of these guys.
No, and these guys aren't included in the Serpent Sting. So if you include these, you lose the 50% bonus.
Of course you do.
You've also got a Venom Blade Knight. That's right. And then they get the Poison Blades rule.
No, you can't do both. No. It's got to be one or the other because it's like a new profile. So yeah, Poison Blade rule. They also cause terror. So that's where they become pretty useful. Do we see many Black Numenorians?
Either they come in en masse at fight 5, but then you might as well just, in my opinion, go for the Reavers if you're going to do that.
Yeah, the only reason why you do that is for the defense 6, maybe the terror causing. Yeah. Actually, I guess you could use them to hold up a part of the line. Yeah. Get them shielding, get your Corsairs doing the other bit, but then you still think Corsairs have got 2 attacks.
Just take 2. Just do that down the line.
Do that down the line might be even more worth it. So that's where they suffer. They suffer because of the list that they come in. That's where they suffer. Not particularly nice models, but some cool little profiles in there, and very good if you want to come up with that kind of theme. So then we come to our last 3 troops, and we're going a little bit more towards that Mahud way again.
Yeah.
Who have we got next?
We've got the Mahud Warrior, who is... We'll talk about his previous profile in a second. So he is fight 3 with a 4+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 5. He is 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 2. So he still retains his lowish courage.
He's the same points value as an Abraham Merchant Guard, interestingly.
Yeah, he is. So he's not as good as an Abraham Merchant
Guard. No, that's the point that's being made. Low courage, he's got he comes with a shield.
Yeah.
But lower fights, and nowhere near as good sort of special rules. Okay, so he's got options to take a banner.
Yep.
You can also take that blowpipe.
Take a blowpipe, so you can move half and shoot, and it's poisoned. And you can take a spear as well. So, on the whole, not a great profile. You don't tend to see many of them. Besides, people wanting to use their fancy models. And these guys used to be. I'm pretty sure they used to be fight 4 and 2 attacks, but courage 1, and have the warrior pride special rule.
Yeah, I have heard people talk about the Mahud list used to be pretty powerful.
Yeah,
well, pretty powerful.
I think everyone used to have 2 attacks.
Yeah. Now we don't see many of these guys at all.
There's plenty far better troops that we've just mentioned in the list.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you're going to even compare them to the rest of the list, they need to be at least a point lower. If you even.
And they're not in the Serpent Sting. So.
No. So they massively lose out for that. We only see these guys when people are taking themed armies.
Yeah.
And they want to take them hood. But even when they're doing that, they might want to consider this.
The Camel Rider.
Here we go. Mahud Raider. Yeah. So again, bite 3.
Yeah.
4+ shoot value. The strength 4. Okay, which is good. Same as the Mahud. Okay, the defense 5, exactly the same. 1 attack, 1 wound, and 2 courage. So that's not the fantastic bit, but it's the war camel.
Yep. Again, they've got the war camel. They've got armor, shield, the war camel. So they're doing their strength 4 hit before they even try to win the fight.
They're pretty expensive.
Yeah, they are.
So 17 points. How many points is a? No, don't off one. That's 19 points, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
19. So, but you're in that kind of middle range. Not as expensive.
It's a Royal Guard horse.
Yeah, just a little bit more expensive. Yeah, price was 2 points. So
yeah. That's
trying to work out. So yeah, it's that kind of level. The war camel's good, and the fact that you can also take the war spear.
They can get the lance. They can get strength 4 with +1 to wound.
And used to fantastic effect by a beautifully painted army. A lot of people voted for it in the league final. One because it's something different that we've not seen before, but also gorgeously painted. So well done, Jade, for bringing that along. I would dread playing against it. It's so good anti-me.
Yeah.
It would trash me. It would trash me. And it's that Impaler special rule all over again, isn't it? Okay, so that's the Mahud Raider. And then another very interesting profile to finish off our infantry of Fallen Realms and of Harad and Umbar. And who's this guy?
It's the half troll of Far Harad. And he got a little boost with this profile.
So he's expensive.
He's expensive. He's more expensive he's 1 point more than a Son of Ale.
Wow. What does he do?
He is fight 5 with a 6+ shoot value, but he's got no ranged abilities, so ignore that. He's strength 5.
Very good.
Good. Defense 6.
Wow. So again, we've only seen that with the Black Numenorian so far.
Now these guys used to be defense 5.
Right. Okay.
So used to go down quite quickly, but they've got boosted to defense 6 because they're they needed a bit of a boost.
Yeah.
2 attacks. Good. 2 wounds.
Another 2 attack.
Another 2 attack model in this force.
And 2 wounds.
And 2 wounds. So even if you do get lucky and win the fight and take them down, you need to do it twice. Courage 2 is their downfall.
Yeah, it's definitely their downfall there. Now they do cause terror as a special rule, and they do have the option to take a 2-handed weapon. I'm not sure you'd really need to be honest.
I don't think you need to either.
You don't need
Instead
to.
of 5, 2 attacks, that's good.
Now the way I feel like you've got to look at this kind of profile is, okay, because they've got 2 wounds, suddenly that's an advantage on some of the other 2 attack models.
Yeah.
Strength 5 and fight 5 in combination.
Yeah, they're good.
You got to look at, would you rather take 2, I don't know,
2 ferals.
2 ferals.
2 feral Orokai or a half troll.
And I think you'd rather have the 4 dice, but if you compare it to even just other normal troops, because it's the same kind of way that I'll think about like a Son of Ale. Yeah. Would you rather have 2 11-point troops, or would you rather have your,
you want concentrate?
And I think one of the things that might make you think, actually, let's get some of these half trolls in here. 2 wounds is a big deal for a troop.
Yeah,
a troop. You've got 2.
It is a pain because most of the time you put them in against a spear ball, so your 2 dice versus their 2 dice. They're more likely to win, and it's not like they're going to go down to 1/6. They need to die again, basically.
Yeah. So I've not seen these spammed.
I've not seen these spammed. I've fought against 3 of them, and my elves had a really tough time against them.
I bet, yeah.
Like there's 3 of them together.
Strength 5 against defense 3.
Yeah, it's 3 to wound.
Oh.
And I didn't want to put my Elven Blades in against them because they're going to die really easily. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to put my heroes into them because if I lose the fight, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
I was in a really horrible predicament where I was sort of like.
You only just pulled that game back, didn't you? You were going.
Oh, I think I lost that. Oh no, I won the first one, but then I lost the second. What I ended up doing is just putting one elf in against them and shielding. It's like, don't kill all the elves, just kill this one.
So you just fed them? Fed them troops, trying to do everything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I'm surprised that we've not seen these spammed.
They're a bit too expensive to be spammed, I think. Even in the list that they're in.
I look at it and I think, if you like, even though with their number, if you then double that number in your mind because of the extra wounds and the extra attack, in my mind, that's really how many you're getting.
But then you've not got the numbers, you break, they run away.
Yeah, that is the downfall.
The Courage 2 is terrible.
Courage 2. I'm not a huge fan of the models.
No, it's sort of like a mini cave troll, isn't it?
Yeah, like a mini cave troll, and I don't know where that sort of come from a fluff point of view.
I think I've just read it in the Palanor Field thing. I think it's that there came it's something like a big hulking man. It's more troll than man, I think they say.
Oh right, okay. Yeah.
Essentially, they could just be, you know, big ass men.
Yeah.
But
a couple of these guys,
but the Rohan describe them as being more troll than man because they're so brutal.
Yeah, maybe that's where they're
so half troll. You can get it in and sort of, you know.
Yeah, very interesting profile. Very different to some of the other stuff in the list.
Yeah.
It's a very, 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 very powerful list. We see these guys winning the odd tournament, don't we? And always sort of being.
I think they're always up there. I can't remember the last time they won one though.
The guy from, was it not the guy from Holland? Did he not bring?
Oh yeah, but he had a shade.
He had a shade as well.
His shade won the tournament.
Shade. Well, that's something that we've not talked about. You know, if you got 2 attack, fight finals. If you've got those 2 attack, fight, and then you also can win those ones. Who did I do that against? Was that against Tom Harrison?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't have the shade though, did I?
No.
That makes it much better.
It was like, oh, it's what are you taking? Oh, it's alright. I'll take the five guys. Salt throws.
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't have a shade?
Do you know what? No, I didn't have a shade.
What were the salt thralls led by then?
They were led by. Who did I have?
Was it like Umbar?
Oh no, Dark Marshal. Dark Marshal. Interestingly enough, though, it wasn't the Reavers or the.
It was the salt thralls.
It was the Orc Spearmen that won me the game.
Ridiculous.
That was brilliant. It's the longest battle report ever. It took ages. To
I've not watched that one.
It's long.
It's too long.
It was hard to film and hard to edit. So we do see these guys up there. It's the kind of force that, because it's quite a powerful build, you could get somebody who's maybe not very experienced still doing okay with it.
Yeah. It's forgiving. It's just because of the amount of dice you throw.
Yeah, throw a lot of dice, very competitive. And we do tend to see those kind of two builds. You get the Serpent Sting build with the Haradrim 50-50, or you get more that kind of get in your face force.
5.
Yeah, Corsairs, maybe some half trolls in there, some good heroes. Very powerful list. So I think it's a pretty good time to sort of, just very quickly, Fallen Realms. What do we think of this as a source book?
Very good source book.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Definitely one of the...
competitive. You know, you got Isengard in there that nearly won the league. Harad always do well.
Yeah, Eastern Kingdoms is probably the weaker of the three of the triplets, but a very, very good book. I do recommend that you all try and get hold of one of these if you can.
I think they're still out in the Games Workshops as well. They've not been picked up as quickly as Free People's.
Buy them now. Even if you don't currently have the intention to collect any of these forces, they're They're well worth resources. It means you can learn your enemy a little bit better as well. So that will bring us almost to the end of our Fallen Realms week.
Yeah.
Of course, we will try and get a battle report in, which looks like it should be Eastern Kingdoms versus Isengard. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, that will come to you soon. So I hope you enjoyed that week. We're not going to tell you what's coming next.
Because we don't know.
No, we've got no idea. So as always, guys, make sure that you comment, like, share and subscribe.
Support your hobby and follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
And as always, team, happy strategy battle gaming.